In this video, we're going to talk about the difference between APR and APY. So APR stands for annual percentage rate, and APY stands for annual percentage yield. And when you're looking at an investment, you need to see which one of these things that is listed in the description of the loan or maybe a credit card or something that you're looking at, because they're different. They're slightly different. All right. Annual percentage rate doesn't take into consideration compounding, whereas the annual percentage yield is taking into consideration the compounding, and it's a way for us to compare investments and see which one might be better. So let's just look at an example here. Which is a better investment? 3.42% APR compounded semi-annually, or 3.4% APR compounded daily? So if you just look at the percents, you go, well, 3.42%, that's going to be a better percent. But the compounding is going to make a difference here. Even though we have a higher percentage APR, annual percentage rate, it's only going to get compounded twice a year, where the 3.4% is going to get compounded every day. So how do we tell which one's the better investment? Well, we do that by finding the APY, the annual percentage yield, and comparing those things. So let's do it with a number first, and then I'm going to show you that the number or the amount that we invest really doesn't matter. But I think it might make more sense going through it with a value first. So let's say we invest $1,000. Okay, so our principal is going to be $1,000. So let's go through the first one. We'll call this investment A, 3.42% compounded semi-annually. So for investment A, hopefully remember your compound interest formula. The amount we have in our account is the principal times 1 plus the rate, the annual percentage rate, divided by the number of compoundings. And then we need to take that to the power of the total number of compoundings. We'll just do this for 1 year. Okay, so we're going to do both of these investments for 1 year. So the total number of compoundings in 1 year, generally we do n times t, but it's just going to be n. All right, so the amount we have in our account is going to be 1,000 times 1 plus 0.0342. Move the decimal 2 places. Number of compoundings is 2. And then in 1 year, we're going to get 2 compoundings as well. All right, so go ahead and punch that into your calculator. Make sure you can get that to come out right. Don't take it for granted that that's going to work for you. All right, so if you punch that into your calculator, you should get $1,034, and then round to the nearest penny is 49 cents. Now, the way we would figure out the APY, or the annual percentage yield, is to actually figure out the exact yield as a percentage. So remember, yield is how much you get, how much you reap from this investment. So we invested $1,000, so what we yielded was $34.49. So to find the percent that we yielded, we would divide that by what we invested, which was $1,000. So if we move our decimal 3 places, when you divide by 1,000, we would get this number. You can punch that into your calculator if you're not familiar with the dividing by 1,000 thing. And then to turn that back into a percent, we're going to move the decimal back this way. And let's just leave these digits here. That's a lot of digits. But we see we got 3.449%. All right, so that is the annual percentage yield for this investment. And it doesn't matter if it's for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, the actual time that you would invest it. The APY is always based on the annual percentage years. So you're always going to do that for just 1 year. Even if you left this money in here for 10 years, the annual percentage yield would just be based off 1 year. All right, let's do it for our investment B. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's do purple. So for investment B, we're going to use the same formula. Except this time we are going to change our rate, and we're going to change our number of compoundings per year. So we'll still go with the $1,000 because we want to compare similar investments here. 1 plus 0. Now we'll change our rate to 3.4% compounded daily, so that's going to be 365. And then we'll take that to the 365th power. So go ahead and punch that in. And you should get 1,034 $34, and then to the nearest penny would be 58 cents. Well, we can see right away here that we've made slightly more money on this one. So the APY, we would find that our yield here for a year is $34.58. Divide that by 1,000, and that's going to give us 0.03458, and then we'll move our decimal 2 places to the right to change it to a percent, and we've got 3.458%. Now generally you'll see APY probably to the nearest hundredth of a percent. So this one would be 3.45% APY, and then investment B would be 3.46%, slightly higher APY. So this is a good example of how just looking at the percentages isn't going to tell you which one is the best investment. You'll make more money with a lower percent compounded daily than you would at the 3.42%, slightly higher compounded semi-annually. Now I want to show you why we didn't even need to do the 1,000, why that's not important. Alright, so let's go to a different slide to look at that. Now let's say we don't know how much you invested. So for investment A, the amount that you're going to have in your account is the principal, whatever that is, times 1 plus, and then we'll put our numbers in again here for the rate and the compounding. And then for investment B, let's say you invest the same amount of principal. So we'll call that P again, and we'll change this to 0.034 over 365 to the 365th. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch this stuff into my calculator here, all this business. And I'm going to punch in all this business into my calculator, and then we're going to write out those values. So if we punch in the first one here for our investment A, we would get, change back to blue here, there we go, we would get our principal times, I'm going to write out a bunch of these decimals here, 1.03449,241. Okay, and then for investment B, the amount we would have in our account is the principal times 1.034582968. So let's take a look. What does this mean? So what this is telling me is no matter what my principal is, with investment A, it's going to get multiplied by 1.034, etc. So I'm going to be getting, if I think of this as a percent, 103.449241% of my money after a year. And if I do the same thing over here, this is going to be 103.45829 whatever percent after a year. So we can see this percent is high. It doesn't matter what your principal was. It doesn't matter how much money you started with. This part of the number is your yield right here. The 100% is the amount that you invested. The part that's over and above 100% is your yield, and it doesn't even matter what your principal is. Okay, so if you can't remember this, you can just go ahead and punch in any number you want, like we did with the $1,000, and then compare those two investments. But this is another way that you can get the annual percentage yield, is just take this part of the compound interest formula and see how much over 100% it is. And that's the difference between APY and APR. APY takes into consideration the compounding, and it tells you your actual yield. Right? This 3.4% compounded daily, you didn't yield 3.4%, even though that's what it said. In a year, you yielded 3.458%, a little bit more than that because of the compounding. So it's really important to understand the difference between these two types of percentage.